Yes, it is a reality, people. Manchester United are shit. We already knew it, didn't we, before we even started today? But today, oh my God, things happen in games, but sometimes it's inexcusable when you see a certain performance. I need you guys, you need me. This is the United Vibe. We're going to talk and break this down now. What happened today at Old Trafford, the Manchester derby? I've got back quickly enough, avoided my match vlog in the rain, so if I look like I'm a drowned rat, that's because I was stood outside Old Trafford for some reason talking, getting drenched about my team being absolutely diabolical today. Or were we just outclassed by a miles better team in Manchester City? I mean, there's a lot of ways you can look at this. There really is. But ultimately, it is a drab day for Manchester United. I've got all of your reaction from my fan vlog. Cheers for tuning into that, guys. That's absolutely smashing it at the moment. You guys are messaging me in your hundreds right now. I'm going to read a few of them messages out because it's impossible for me to actually get through all of them and reply to all of them. So that's what this show's about. I want to get your input on what you thought happened today at Old Trafford. It was only fitting that I brought on my man James with me today as well. Last time we was in Old Trafford celebrating an epic win against Manchester City. Let's say that. But James is back in totally different circumstances today. James, I don't need to ask how you're feeling. Obviously, I'm guessing it's one of quite downbeat and not too happy, mate.
No, not great, mate. Never great when we play Manchester City and end up on the wrong end of a result. It was quite comprehensive for them in the end, wasn't it? I think I took a bit of flack for being optimistic pre-game, but you know me, I'm one of these people that's always gonna back my team, always gonna think we can win. I'm never gonna go into a game thinking we're gonna lose. And like you said last time, we were at Old Trafford together. We were sat together against City. And we came from behind 1-0 down, beat Man City 2-1, and it was jubilation. And there was nothing really to get excited about today. I'm sure we'll go into it with the chat and stuff, but yeah, not a good day to be a Manchester United fan.
Not a good day at all. It was just painful. I think that's the word I'm getting. And going off the actual chat and how everyone is reacting to this, you can see the messages coming up now. It's just it's not easy. It's not easy. It really isn't. When you watch a result like that, and it's not so much the result, it's the performance, I think, which is more scary. It was the performance for me. And what I said, well, my main point was from my fan blog outside the stadium was that Manchester United were just schooled and put in their place by City. I thought City managed the game perfectly. They dealt with the emotion and the atmosphere at the start of the game. They just wore United down and just literally just played us off the park. Absolutely played us off the park for me. I mean, how much of this is down to City just being a miles better team, James?
I think, like you said in your introduction, it's a bit of both, right? I think it was being outclassed by a better team, but also our lot not performing. I think if you believe what Ten Hag said pre-game, that we had a game plan and he'd made selections, you know, to basically to execute a game plan, and you can say that one out of their two managers today managed to execute their game plan. I think it was a classic Pep Guardiola performance, wasn't it? They took the chances when they needed to. Yes, penalty early on. Okay, that goes their way. We can get into that. But then after that, they were just totally in control. And they always make that extra pass, like as shown in the second goal. Like they always make that extra pass. Whereas sometimes I think in the final third, I think we just rushed. And, you know, I'm normally watching it in the ground and you normally get caught up in all the emotion. And today I was able to just sit back and watch it. And I just realized, I was like, we are just not that good. We really are. There are just so many situations during the game where we make poor choices, where individuals make poor choices, where we make substitutions which were a bit crazy, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But yeah, Man City were very good today. Man United were very poor today. And that's why you got a 3-0 win to City.
Wow, this is it. This is it. I mean, I'm just going to read through a few of the comments from my match reaction outside the ground. It says, spot on, Adam. His team selection was atrocious. It's painful and embarrassing to watch this team, which was great once upon a time. I think that's the general vibe that we're getting from most of the United fans right now. In terms of Ten Hag's team selection today, James, I feel like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself. I mean, guys, if you're having a problem with the stream, apparently, like Stephanie says there, YouTube live streams has got a bit of an issue today. So I think we are having a few of them problems ourselves. But yeah, we'll just stick with it and keep the chat going. But team selection. One thing I brought up, and that was Paul's message on my fan reaction to the game before, was round pegs in square holes. We had a left back on the bench. We had a couple of right wingers on the bench, but we're playing players that play centrally in centre back and centre mid in Bruno and Lindelof out on the wing against some of the best wingers in the Premier League. In City's case, James, and I'm looking at it, and I went a sort of, and people, when I release my match day vlog tomorrow, you'll see the build up to the game, and when the news dropped, when the team dropped, just watch my reaction when I come on that match day vlog. When that team dropped, I lost all hope in that game, and it just came across. It just looked uncomfortable, James.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the opposite, to be fair. So, like, when the team drops, I'm the person that's like, listen, you've got 11 players putting on that red shirt today, or the goalkeeper's jersey. Like, you get behind the team, you go, like, we're going to have it, we're going to have them today. But realistically, when you take a step back, you look at it, and it is, square pegs, round holes thing. Was Reguilon fit enough to play the whole game? Was Varane fit enough to play the whole game? Was Pellistri, was Anthony, was any of them fit enough that could play right wing to play the whole game? Because let's face it, Gvardiol at left back is never going to have an easier game in his life. I mean, he was faced up with Bruno Fernandez, who has no pace. So what we really should have done is played someone with a bit of pace that was going to hold the touchline, that was going to stretch them and then create a bit of space in the middle for our forwards. But that just didn't happen. Lindelof at left back is just, I mean, if he's played him for tactical reasons, and this is a big shout, as soon as he selected that team and said for tactical reasons, I'm like, right, he must be going long. He must be playing like some kind of 4-4-2 with Rasmus and Rashford up top, play him on the halfway line, get your ball playing centre back. So get your Maguire, get your Lindelof, and get your Evans to ping balls over the top and let Rashford run and let Højlund run. And that's what I was expecting. And I was like, fair play, because that's how we've hurt City in the past under Ollie. Dan James used to do it. Marcus Rashford used to do it. We've done that in the past. But it just didn't work out that way. We didn't really attempt any balls over the top, which was a bit strange. We tried to almost play, and I'm like, well, we've not really got the players on the pitch to try and play. It was very strange. So Lindelof at left back wasn't great. Bruno on the right never worked, to be honest. But I mean, Bruno's captain, so he's never going to drop him. And he also came out and said that he's never going to drop Marcus Rashford, and he's always liable to get a goal if he gets chances. So realistically, those two were always going to play as well. And I think we'll come on to that as well. But those two maybe are the two that are underperforming game after game at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. Looks like YouTube has finally got its act together, guys, and we are sort of moving again a little bit, it would seem. Oh, God, it's like United trying to get going. But yeah, James, I think you nailed it there in what you said, and that's what I picked up on. It's like, from coming out from the back, it's like, you haven't got ballers. You just haven't. Lindelof looks like he's playing with a hot potato every time. He just looks looks like a duck out of water, isn't he? A fish out of water. He's just ridiculous when it comes to big games like this. When you've got a high press, he's not the man you want. Johnny Evans, I thought, was probably one of our most accomplished players on the ball today, to give him his credit. Maguire did not play bad and dealt with most of the stuff, but we all know Maguire's qualities. He isn't good enough to be handling that sort of forward line in Manchester City, especially with a United defence, which, again, has never played together in its life. Another back line which is struggling because they've not been together. They've got no experience of playing together. It's just an absolute farce. And, Ten Hag, I listened to his press conference, guys. You know, I'm a big advocate of backing players, managers. I'm never going to go in it. But one thing I did say when I came back on to push my channel properly and say what I needed to say was, I'll call it as it is. I'm worried for him because his post-match interview that I've just listened to is one of doesn't really know what to say or how to address the issues that are at hand with Manchester United right now. For him to come out and say again, and I pulled this, I made a video of it the other day, and I said it was going to cause problems. And I watched him, I listened to him say Marcus Rashford will come good. He was directly asked a question about how bad Marcus Rashford is and the issue that Marcus Rashford is right now. And he deflected it away. He will come good. He's all right. We keep playing him. James, this cannot happen, because my issue with this, and I said this the other day on the show, was other players are going to start looking into this, and other players are going to start going, well, hang on a minute. He's just been booed off the pitch And I'll tell you exactly how it was, guys, within that game today, from within the stadium as well. I'll let you know everything, the fans' reactions and everything. But to be booed off the pitch, applauded, well, I'd say he was applauded as a case of like, finally he's going off. But James, this is a big problem for Ten Hag now, isn't it? I mean, he said it. He's got to back it up. I don't know how he gets himself out of it. Because if now he doesn't start playing Rashford, then it looks like he's lost control, does it not?
Yeah, this is the issue you have. I'll preface this by saying I love Marcus Rashford. He's one of my favourite players. I literally love him. The issue you have is he's not performing. And Marcus Rashford is a huge confidence player. And we saw this about 2 seasons ago in the Ranić season. And I remember him getting subbed off eventually against Wolves, I think it was, where we lost 1-0. And he came off about 85 minutes and he looked like he was about to cry, mate. He literally was taking pelters on social media and he was absolutely awful. And everyone was like, Rashford's done at United. Rashford's done. And then the following season, obviously, he comes back and gets 30 goals and shuts everyone up. And then everyone expects him to do wonders again. And then this season he drops off. And that's the thing with Marcus. He's very much a confidence player and he's playing in a low confidence team and he's playing himself with low confidence and he's not playing very well at all. The problem that you've got is when someone is so Mr. Manchester United that they become undroppable. And what I thought was good about Ten Hag originally is that he wasn't going to buy into this. He came in, he's taken the captaincy off Maguire, which apparently previous managers weren't able to do because of the price tag. He's basically got rid of one of the club's greatest ever players out of the club because he was kicking up a fuss. So it very much seemed like Ten Hag was the man to take a stand. Yet on Marcus Rashford, he doesn't seem to want to for some reason. He seems to really like Marcus Rashford. He's always bigged him up since he's come here. He's always said that he likes him as a number 9, to be honest. He really, really bigs up Marcus Rashford. And I'm just afraid that might be the ship that he's going to sink with. I think if he continues to play Marcus Rashford through a terrible vein of form, then and we don't get results, the fans are going to turn like they did today when we brought off Højlund instead of Rashford. There was audible boos in the stadium when Højlund was coming off instead of Rashford, and there was applause when Rashford was finally taken off. And if he continues to make what is commonly known as a mistake and keep playing Rashford, then yeah, he might sink with that ship, and that might be the ultimate thing that costs him his job, mate. It really might.
I mean, this is the worry because I feel like he's going down the road of previous managers. It's like, why? He set off with that sort of that standard. He drew the line in the sand, basically, for me, Ten Hag. It looked like he was just going to be that man, like you said, James, the one that stopped it. I'm listening to people on the radio there. It's like these players just need an absolute dressing down. They really, really do. And it feels like at Manchester United, you cannot talk or badmouth certain players. I mean, an example of this and how I think it's going to affect the other team members is Anthony comes on tonight and just starts lashing out, kicking out at anything, just frustrated. A man to come on and just start doing that straight away is like, I've just watched someone who has been playing crap all season take my position in one of the biggest games this club has every single season and perform again, shockingly. I don't get on until the last minute. I mean, Ten Hag substitutes to bring Anthony and then Martial on and how late they were. I'm scratching my head as to why you would even bother, to be honest. But it's that and it's other problems as well. It's like Amrabat. He's definitely underwhelming me. I think he looks like it's too much for him. Being subbed off constantly at half time. The Eriksen experiment today for me did not work. I mean, there's some moments where Eriksen looks like the world-class player he is. But in a game of that magnitude and how quick it is and how fast City moved the ball, he was part of probably one of the slowest midfielders I've ever seen United put out on a field today. McTominay, Amrabat, and Eriksen, you are not keeping up with Manchester City. I'm trying to think like, Eric, I want to defend you, but today you're on your own. You really are, and you deserve the criticism that's coming your way. I mean, honestly, that midfield, James, I seen that after the defence. It just kept getting worse. It kept getting worse as I went through the team. It's like, right, okay, the defence is bad enough, and then I seen that slow midfield. And I can understand fans' frustration within the stadium. I really can. And the booze probably warranted for a lot of people. I mean, the stadium was empty with 10 minutes to go in a Manchester derby. That tells you everything. And he's going to lose. He's losing a lot of the fan base right now, Erik ten Hag, James. I mean, how does he get it back? That's the question I want everyone to try and answer. I just don't know.
It's a really tough one, mate. On the midfield issue, here are some words that you probably never thought that any United fan would utter. But boy, did we miss Fred today. Considering his performance last season on Kevin De Bruyne and his energy in midfield, because we had no energy in midfield today. And Fred was that little Duracell bunny that just ran round and harassed them and everything last season. And we just didn't have that on the pitch today. McTominay, for all his plaudits that he gets energy-wise, he looked massively lethargic. He didn't track his runners. He was very, very poor today.
It was shocking.
He wasn't great. Like, if you play him higher up, fine, but he still has to do his defensive work and track back, and he didn't do that at all. But I'm not going to be the only one to pick on him, because the rest of the midfield were awful. Bruno was very petulant, not great at all. Amrabat was very poor. I never really bought into the Amrabat hype, to be honest. He was kind of labelled as this signing that was going to save our season. And, we needed someone to play next to Casemiro, and that was going to change everything. And people get this hype. I mean, realistically, what had people seen of Amrabat? 6 games at the World Cup? Are you telling me you watched, you might have seen Fiorentina play West Ham in the European Cup final. You might have seen that. But outside of that, you're not watching Fiorentina week in, week out. You watched him play several games for Morocco in the World Cup, and that's it. And you've probably seen a few YouTube compilations, and people are acting like he's prime Pirlo. It's like, I just don't get it. Like, Man United fans do this sometimes, where it's like they just see compilations of a player, or they see a player and think, yeah, they'll fit in. And it's like, people don't realise how heavy that red shirt is, that Manchester United shirt is. It's like, I've seen loads of people come here and fail. And Amrabat, by no means at the moment, is a failure, far from it. But acting like he's going to save our season. And remember, 2 seasons ago, we got our worst ever tally in the Premier League. I think we got 58 points. Last season, we got 75 points, which was a big improvement. And Ten Hag, in fairness, like a 17-point improvement and a final, 2 finals, 1 win, and a quarter-final in European competition. He worked wonders with that team. He really did. Was he going to be able to replicate it this season? Probably not. And we're seeing that now. And what I'm worried about with Ten Hag, you ask, how does he turn it round? With the exception of, I think we've got Fulham away next, then we've got Luton at home, but like 5 out of our next 6 games are away. And United's away record isn't great, and we've got injuries galore. And I looked at the table before, and I'm like, we are closer to the relegation zone than we are to Tottenham in first place. We're 11 points off Tottenham, and we're 10 points off 18th place. And I just thought, this just isn't good. Like, Manchester United are not meant to have 15 points after 10 games. We're not.
No, it's scary, isn't it? I mean, it could have gone. It's fine margins football. We could have been 3 points behind City today. Instead, we're 9. And we're in the position, like you said, James, we're looking down rather than looking ahead of ourselves at the top, because we are miles off everyone else. The problem we've got is, and what everyone's going to do now, guys, just quickly, yes, YouTube is having a Ten Hag right now. It's just, it doesn't know what it's doing. It's having a mad one, people. So just bear with it. It is, I think YouTube is sponsoring United. And with just that disease which kills everyone who steps foot into the football club, because it does. It is a poison challenge right now. It's having a bit of a mare. So just bear with us. Do give the video a like for us even trying to talk after a game like this, with YouTube having its own meltdown as well. I got drenched. I mean, it couldn't have gone any worse, really. It really couldn't have got worse. But we're trying anyway. We're trying to put a smile on everyone's faces by bringing everyone together to try and suffer as one, we should say, as a fan base. I was listening to fans on the radio coming back talking, and the dejection with this football club right now, it just feels dead. To put on a show like we did for Sir Bobby at the start of that game, and the way it gets people, it just takes the focus away from the real issue, which is the football club itself right now. The fans, I feel, are a massive part of this, but it's like, and one thing I just don't like is when the players are trying to big it up. Come on, let's get going. Well, no, this doesn't happen. You need to give something back to the fans. These are paying customers that are paying a fortune to go and watch this football club, and they're just getting nothing back from these players. Bringing me on to the next point, you mentioned him there, James. Bruno Fernandez, the fans are turning, mate. I'm telling you now, I've been in the stadium all season. I don't know what's happened to him. And I'm his biggest fan. I absolutely love Bruno Fernandez. I've interviewed him. I've spoken to him. He's fantastic. He puts himself out there for doing anything media-wise. He fronts up all the time. But a lot of people are saying now he's not captain material. His decision-making is completely off. And he, right now, is one of the big problems at the football club. Again, I mean, I don't think many fans would have a problem if Bruno Fernandez was dropped as well right now. The Bruno and Rashford hate is going to continue as long as the performances stay this way, mate.
Yeah, Bruno. So Bruno's got his positives, right? So the positives for Bruno is his stats are always very good. Since he's come, his stats are frankly ridiculous. I think he's got something like 60 odd goal contributions in like 100 games or something daft like that. His stats are very good. He's almost never injured, so he's almost always available, which a lot of our players can't say.
Yeah.
He puts a shift in, he gets around, he always fronts up, like you said, he always does interviews, stuff like so. So there's your positives about Bruno Fernandez. That there is plenty. Negatives about Bruno Fernandez, he doesn't keep the ball. He doesn't keep the ball well. So if you want to play like possession-based football where you keep the ball a lot, he doesn't really keep the ball because he tries that forward pass, and which is fine because he has to in that position. That's what he's in the team to do, but he doesn't pull it off as much as he should. So that's a negative. I also think he makes poor decisions like quite a lot. I think he plays some suicide passes. I think he plays hero balls at the wrong time. So that's another negative. And another negative is his petulance as well. I think he's really easy to wind up. He always strikes me as like, oh, he's a walking red card, but it never really quite happens. He always walks on that edge, but eventually a referee's just going to have it with him and they're just going to get tired of his BS and be like, yeah, you're off. Because he does always moan. He's very, very petulant about all decisions. He dives, he rolls around, he does all that. And this isn't a slight on Bruno, because I'm going to turn the question back round to you and say, when was the last player that we had that when they got made Manchester United captain, they did not play worse?
Yeah, this is the thing, mate. And it's
Wayne Rooney did. Wayne Rooney did. Harry Maguire did. Bruno Fernandez did. And we can go back and back. Like historically, when players get made captains, and it transcends all different sports because the pressure becomes a different level. Like you are then carrying the weight of the team on your shoulders, basically. So it's very tough. So I'm kind of like when it comes up for captaincy debates, everyone's like, yeah, make it your best player, make it your best player. And I never really buy into that because I'm like, I don't want my best player to have all the responsibility and the weight of the captaincy. I want that to be free of them, and I want them to just be able to go out and express themselves. I want the strongest character in the dressing room to be the captain, so that they've got the mentality to deal with the stuff, because it generally weighs people down. Like even people as great as Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney was not the same player when he got the captaincy of Manchester United. We can say, oh, Harry Maguire's not quality, not this. At the end of the day, the fact he was at £80 million and given the captaincy of Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, like has an effect. And then all of a sudden this season, we're not saying he's tearing down trees, but he's played better since he's lost the captaincy because that stress is off his shoulders. And I think if you relinquish Bruno of that stress, you might start to see a different Bruno Fernandez. But it looks like he's trying to carry the whole team and he's trying to be that person to play that pass and get that assist and get that goal. And that's it's not what I want of Bruno. Like I just want him to play with freedom, and he can't do that when he's captain. It's so frustrating.
Oh yeah, no, I echo what you're saying there in terms of Bruno trying to do too much. We've said it so many times. We need to harness that energy and do it, but I don't know how. I don't know how. It's like hearing the fans shouting down on him. It's awful. It is. It's awful hearing the fans shout down on any player. But another thing that I had an issue with was the excuses that some fans are making for certain players. I mean, the biggest load of crap I heard this week was people making an excuse for Marcus Rashford and the fact that we haven't got a left back. All right, so we've just got to accept that Marcus Rashford can't play because Luke Shaw's out the side. That's it. This is United standards right now. I'm like, what has the world come to? I mean, where is that even a point? It's not. You should be upping your game and doing more. I said it. That lineup today, we had Victor Lindelof with Marcus Rashford in front of him against Kyle Walker and Phil Foden. I tweeted out straight away. I went, it's open season down United's left. If I had anything, if I was a manager, I would just be playing down that left-hand side. I just do not understand Ten Hag and his thinking there. The excuses for the likes of Bruno and like the he brings. I mean, I've done it myself. I'm guilty of it. I'll say that and honestly say that. But like I said, I understand what people are also saying when they get frustrated with him. Ten Hag, I feel, can put a stop to this. He just needs to find them balls that he had last season and start making some big calls. I mean, I've not listened to any of the pundits yet. I've not heard Keane. I've not heard Gary Neville. I don't know what was said, James. I don't know if you've heard it, or if you can tell us what was said in the punditry of the game. I've only listened to what reaction I've heard outside. But was anything said in terms of where we're at and where the big issues are in terms of what all the pundits were saying on Sky and things like that?
To be honest, mate, you're giving me far too much credit, assuming that I kept it on for the punditry after the game. I was basically straight off, to be honest. Although I have heard that I think Keane was like, give Ten Hag time, and I think Gary Neville was really criticising Ten Hag along with Jamie Carragher about the no style of play thing, and that's what I heard from that point of view. Whether that's true or not, I'll have to double check. But if the chat can get involved and let us know what the actual pundit said, because I'm not certain on it. But listen, on the Rashford thing, Rashford, Bruno, Ten Hag, this little triangle that's going on. You've got one half of the United fan base that are putting all the blame on Rashford and Bruno, and rightfully they're not playing great at the moment, so they deserve some criticism. We can get into that. But then I also hear some people say, "Oh well, Ten Hag can't play his style because Rashford and Bruno are in the team," and it's like, wait a minute. It's like you've got 11 players on that pitch. You're telling me just because two of them can't play a certain way, you can't play a style of football. You're telling me that if you take two players out of that Man City team, that Pep Guardiola all of a sudden has to completely change the way he plays and they can't play that kind of style. I don't buy it. I really don't buy into that at all. I think that Ten Hag has to shoulder some responsibility for the way that Manchester United play. He has to shoulder a lot of responsibility for substitutions today, because that one in the second half was a nightmare. Taking Amrabat off and playing like, whether we like Scott or whether we don't, we can all admit he's not a six. Like I quite like Scott McTominay in certain areas of the pitch. He's not a six. So taking Amrabat off and asking Scott to drop backwards is a nightmare scenario. Like, it was never, ever going to work. And then you fix that, or you try and fix that by playing Eriksen as a lone six, which might even be worse because he's got no legs. So the second half was a catastrophe as far as Erik ten Hag is concerned. So I think the blame, like, yes, some of it lies, well, a lot of it lies on the players, but I think some of it lies on the manager as well. And they're going to have to come together and work together to try and dig the way out of it. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, because like you said, the game's coming up. I mean, you didn't even mention Newcastle at home in the Carabao Cup. Like, that one shining light over the last few years, actually winning the trophy and the joy that brought. And like the positivity coming off that, literally turning it around to a new season, how things have gone so backwards so quickly to be playing Newcastle. I actually think that Newcastle could actually be, I hate to say this, mate, but I think this could be a massive nail in the coffin of Ten Hag. If they beat us on Wednesday, this fan base, I feel, will go. I mean, Ten Hag had plenty in the bank. He had a lot of credit with the United fan base, but the United fan base is sick of the excuses. And I feel like if it's a bad result against Newcastle on Wednesday, I feel like it's going to be majority of fans are thinking he's just not up for it. I do believe that the majority of the fan base will start thinking that Ten Hag is never going to be able to turn this around. And that is unbelievable, thinking that after the way we finished last season.
I remember doing a show ages ago, and just before Ten Hag was announced, and everyone was like, yeah, he gets 3 years minimum, no matter what. Like, he gets 3 years. No one's going to turn on him. It's a project. He gets 3 years. Like, the club's a mess. He's the man. He's the manager. He's going to come in and fix it. And I said, no, he won't. I said, literally within 18 months, if we don't get results, people will turn. Like, it's the way the fan base is now. Like, we live in a culture where everyone wants everything now. Like, if we want food, we go on Just Eat or Deliveroo, we order it now. If we want a package, we go on Amazon and we order it now. Like, we live in a world where we want things now. So, like, people aren't willing to risk it for projects anymore. They don't want to wait 3 years. They don't want to wait 5 years. They want it now. And realistically, that's something that Ten Hag has to put up with. What I want to do is flip it and say, realistically, if we get rid of Ten Hag now, who wins? And it's the Glazers. Like, we don't win as a fan base, because who do we go out and replace him with? Realistically, I'm not that sure who's out there. I know a couple of people have named like Hansi Flick, but I genuinely don't know who you go out and get. I really don't. I think Ten Hag's in this situation. Realistically, we're in an ownership like situation at the moment. God knows how it's going to fix itself or what the outcome is going to be. I think the most likely outcome is Sir Jim gets 25% and the Glazers are still here. But you might end up in a situation where the Glazers still have 69% and Sir Jim isn't here. It's very unlikely that you end up with a full sale in any case. And then, is it in their best interest to spend money to sack a manager? They've not taken dividends out. Do they want to spend more money? And I don't see. I see the fan base getting really toxic and turning on Ten Hag quite significantly if that Newcastle result and a couple of others don't go their way. I can see that happening. Say we lose to Newcastle and we don't get a result in Copenhagen, then the fan base is going to be mad. Like, it'll be Ten Hag out everywhere, all over socials. I just don't see the club making that kind of statement yet. I remember when all social media was Ollie out after the Liverpool game. Like, everyone was like, he's lost the dressing room, he's had enough. And they waited an entire international break, 2 weeks, when they should have made a decision, and they left him there, and it took that defeat against Watford to be the final nail in the coffin to say, right, you're gone. I just don't think they're in the business of sacking managers, as ironic as that is, because we've sacked quite a few. I don't think they're in a rush to get rid of him, and I don't think they should be. But if you look historically under Glazer's ownership, every single manager that United have had has started well in some degree. David Moyes won the Community Shield, and then obviously was sacked 8-9 months later. Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup and then was sacked. Jose Mourinho won a couple of trophies and was sacked. Ralph Rangnick had that 30 minutes against Palace and was sacked. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had his little 13-game unbeaten run and was sacked. And Ten Hag got through a final, won another cup, got through a European quarter and came third in the league. And he could eventually be sacked. And what's the common denominator? It's the Glazers, but no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to do anything about it. They just want to boo all the players. It's nonsense.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's an impossible situation. It's like what you're saying there. It's like everything is now. I think the fact that the likes of Ange Postecoglou has come in, this freak, and turning Spurs around makes it look even worse, because people think, well, Spurs were worse than us, and he's got them challenging at the top of the league, actually up there after a quarter of the season gone. And you know what? It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I did some work this week for Lad Bible in the build-up to the game, and apparently a poll from them said 52% of the United fan base actually thought we could win the league. I was like, I don't know who you were asking that question to, or when you asked that question. It's absolutely ludicrous. Guys, cheers for sticking with us tonight. YouTube is having a United game. They're having their own derby today. So, just hang in there with us, guys, because it's not great on YouTube tonight. I think everyone's struggling live stream-wise. We have got some decent numbers in. Cheers. The likes have just gone past 100, guys. So thank you very much for that. Brilliant stuff. Cheers, Stephanie the mod, for keeping at that. Guys, the membership is open as well on United Vibe. There's loads of incentives coming through on that as well. So if you do want to join and contribute to the channel as well in that way, that is there. I think the link is in the description as well of this video. So do drop down there if you are interested in looking at that. Not if you wanted to go to a United game, but there are going to be some incentives for that with the membership section as well. So yeah, do get into that if you are, well, if you want to. It's not really a good time to advertise that, is it?
Not really,
but you know, there may be better time. I mean, Rashford might play, and Luke Shaw's back next year, so he might actually start playing again. But yeah, brilliant stuff, guys, and cheers for obviously hanging on with this stream. But we're going to get into it. You know what? We might as well just rate the players and their performances. Let's go through the team and break it down. Guys, get in the chat and let me know what you think. Play along with us, because one player I'm going to start with as a bit of a positive was Andre Onana again. Another decent game for him. I know you can't say that Onana had a good game when we lost 3-0, but in terms of doing his job, I thought he was solid enough. Can't really expect him to do much more with that. City goals, I honestly don't think there's anything he could have done with him. We can't expect him to save penalties every single week. For me, I think Onana, for the saves he made, especially the point-blank one with Haaland, I'd give him Onana a 7 out of 10. What are you giving him, James?
Yeah, I'm going to slightly disagree where you say you can't give him a good rating because we lost 3-0. And I know he conceded 3 goals, but I thought Onana was really, really good today. I do. I thought he was really, really good. I thought the penalty save. Yeah, I think the penalty save was vital for his confidence. I thought it was absolutely vital against Copenhagen. Massive moment in his United career where you can stand up and fight or you can sink. And he stood up and fought. And it showed in his performance today. 8 out of 10 for me. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was our man of the match by far.
Yeah, I think the guys are all agreeing with you in the chat, mate. I think he was one player that could probably hold his head up in sort of, well, he's treading water easily. He's surviving this flood anyway. But Yeah, this is where it gets a bit. It's where it gets a bit nasty. We'll start with Victor Lindelof, and for me, like I said, fish out of water. Just stop playing him, Eric. Stop now. He was poor at centre back so far this season. He's had a shocker for me. He doesn't look comfortable at all on the ball, especially at left back. And I'm giving Lindelof a 3 out of 10. It's harsh, but honestly, I cannot give him any more. I thought it was appalling.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I was around the 3.5 mark. I thought he was very poor. I think, yeah, fish out of water. Playing a centre back at left back is no good. And yeah, he was always going to struggle. To be fair, and he did struggle, and he didn't offer much. I thought the very least he'll offer is he'll be competitive in the air and stuff, and he'll help us against a City team that have a massive aerial threat. But I didn't really see him doing much from that point of view or contributing hugely. So yeah, like 3.5, 3 out of 10. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Oh, wow. Guys, are you in? 3 for Victor, 2. People are saying 2, sell him. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, stealing a living, says Malps. Yeah, guys, keep your comments coming in. Let me know. Oh, God, yeah. It's painful, I know, but we've got to talk about it. We've got to talk about it. It's the only way I can get through the night. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to be thinking about Lindelof trying to keep up with Phil Foden with an overlap of Kyle Walker, and it's just going to give me nightmares. Anyway, into the centre-backs. Honestly, Johnny Evans, unfair on him, to be honest. It's not. He's a professional footballer. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just didn't expect much. So does that mean that I am wrong for saying he probably wasn't the worst on the pitch? I just don't think he's. I don't think he's Manchester United quality right now and what we need, especially in games like this. Everything he did okay, but when you come up against a quality outfit, he's just not good enough to be on the pitch. And it seems harsh, but 4 for me. Again, he was part of a defence that just got outplayed.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in between a 4 and a 5 for Johnny Evans. I'd probably side with 4. I think if I go back to the game where he played that long clip ball with his left foot over the top for Bruno, and Bruno first time volleyed it in, and I thought when I saw the lineup, I thought that's why he's in the team. I thought him and Maguire and Lindelof are all going to be trying those kind of balls all day, because that's how you hurt City, especially if you got Rashford and Højlund. Like, that's how you hurt them, and we just didn't play that ball enough. I thought defence-wise, like, it's a tough one because their centre forward scored 2 goals, but I don't really think Lindelof or Maguire were massively or Evans, were massively at fault for either of those, ironically. So like Onana, I think I could rate them high, even though we conceded 3 goals, but because they weren't directly to blame for the goals. But yeah, I just don't think he offered enough, to be honest. I don't think he made any huge mistakes, but I don't think he offered enough. So 4, 4.5, something like that.
Yeah, and also he's in the house. I'll also say he's give up on Ten Hag today. I've seen his little reaction.
I saw,
he's done.
I saw, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for backing me up on that, guy. It wasn't us lagging. YouTube does have an issue. So what you can do, guys, you just like the video for us actually hanging on here and actually trying to break this United performance down with YouTube backing us up in the way that they are. So yeah, let's try and get to 200 before we finish. In terms of likes, we're well on the way now, guys. So get liking it as well. Cheers, all much appreciated as always. All right, Harry Maguire, I'm giving him straight in. He's squad number 5 for me. Thought it was good in the air, battled with Haaland, but again, he's a player for me. And I said this, I mean, everyone was raving about Harry Maguire. Yourself, James. Well, not raving, but you've been fair. Sometimes they're just better players in the world. And he wouldn't be my first choice to play in this game. I thought we've got better centre-backs to handle what City have got today. We're just down to the bare bones, and I think it affected us. It showed. He did what he could. 5 for me. I just thought he actually showed a little bit of heart, at least.
I think it's an easy 5 for me, to be honest. I think he was the best out of a bad bunch in terms of defenders. I thought without him today, and considering the injuries we had, we'd have really struggled at the back, because aerially none of the other guys really did anything. Every time a corner came in, it was him or Rashford clearing it. I think he cleared one off the line as well. He had a couple of mistakes. I think he tried to head one out and missed it, and it almost hit Delo's arm and dropped down. Yeah, it was shocking. That was not good. Wait until you see that on TV. That is not good.
I'm not watching any TV,
complete air shot. Honestly, he goes to flick it and he just misses it, and then it just hits Delo's arm. I'm like, oh god, please no. Not after all, like the fact that I've just like defended you for so long. Just please, just do it. But yeah, I think I genuinely think he was pretty solid. He progressed the ball more than any other defender if you look at all heat maps, which is what he does. I think he was probably faster than Evans on the ball, which isn't saying a lot because Evans was quite slow on the ball. And I think he did his job. I don't think the goals were his fault. But still, it wasn't a great performance. So yeah, probably below average. 5 for me.
Yeah, that's it. Dalot. He's going hot and cold for me at the moment, Dalot. I don't know how to. He has moments where I think that's the guy, and then it's like, oh no, he's back again. It's Ollie football again. Dalot for me, I just don't think he handled I don't think he handled Grealish well at all. I thought Grealish had a field day against him. Again, just a better forward against our defence. And Grealish had too much space the whole game for me, and yeah, he did what he wanted to. 3 for Dalot for me. I wasn't impressed at all.
Yeah, I think there with Lindelof, to be honest, I think our fullbacks were comfortably worse than our centre backs. I think they left their wingers in too much space. I think if you look at that, it was summed up by the second goal. When they play that ball down that line, Dalot wasn't even in picture. If you watch it again on TV, he's nowhere to be seen. He's miles up the pitch, which leaves, obviously, everyone having to come across and cover, and then that leaves space at the back post. It's just, he was out of position. And the thing is, like, we all know that Wan-Bissaka is a better defender than him in terms of, like, actual defensive work. But then you get the people arguing that he's better going forward. And well, if he is, we didn't see that today. Unfortunately for me, poor game from Dalot. So yeah, I'd probably say 3.5, something like that.
Yep. Right, let's race through these because it's not going to take long. Bruno Fernandez, our captain, fellow countryman, Dalot in a 3 for me. I thought his performances have gradually just getting worse and worse. He hasn't been in great form. We've been holding on for some moments where he's been brilliant, like the goal, like you said, against Burnley. But moments are not enough now. We need him to start taking the grip of the game and controlling the game. And today he was outclassed, absolutely outclassed in that midfield area by City's centre midfielders, and he just couldn't get in the game. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it's probably a 3 out of 10 for me as well. And remember, like, go back to last year and people were having like Bruno and Kevin De Bruyne shouts and stuff like that. And Kevin De Bruyne obviously isn't playing at the moment, and there was probably still 3 centre midfielders that all outperform Bruno easily, and probably all the ones on their bench could outperform him as well at the moment. And there's just levels to this game, unfortunately. And at the moment, Bruno's not performing, and when he's not getting his stats and he's not getting his goals and he's not getting his assists, then he just doesn't offer much to the team. And it didn't help him that he was out of position a lot today. So I'll give him a bit of leeway for that. But yeah, like 3 for me.
Yeah, 3. Stop playing him on the right-hand side, Eric. You're going to destroy him, and it's going that way now. It really is. Eriksen, I think a similar score, me. I think all the midfield are getting 3s for me, to be honest. Yeah, Eriksen a 3, and Amrabat probably a 3 as well.
Yeah, who am I going to give more? I'll go Amrabat 3 because I genuinely do. I think he was poor. I think his yellow card was daft. It was really silly. And if you're playing CDM against City, you can't get a cheap yellow card because there is going to be a time when you need to pull someone down or you need to do something to stop a counter attack, to stop it going to 2-0 or 3-0 or whatever. And he took that opportunity away from himself by getting a really daft yellow card. So that's really poor game management. So 3 for him. And then who else was it? Eriksen. Yeah, he's tidy-ish on the ball, but he just doesn't have the legs to do it long enough. So maybe he's like a 3.5, 4 for me. Maybe he was the best out of a bad bunch in midfield, but yeah, he wasn't great again. So yeah, somewhere around 3.5.
Yeah, you may have wondered why I actually brought Bruno in. I actually forgot he was actually on the right-hand side of the front, but he never really played there again. That's this positional discipline is just not there with Bruno, and one of his issues, big issue for me. But McTominay was the other midfielder. Someone who I thought coming up through the academy, like Rashford, would have had the bit between the teeth today. he just looked scared, and I hate when players go hiding. I thought Scott went hiding again today. I was really, really disappointed in him. I expected so much more. He's actually a player that is in form, unlike a lot of these United players right now. He had some form going into this game. And no, for me again today, I can't get any higher than a 3 again for him.
I think McTominay's game could have been very, very different. I think there was like 3 key moments. The first of which comes very, very early in the game, where Bruno wins it back. McTominay's running through, and he's got 3 options. He either runs and shoots himself, or he's got Højlund to the right of him, or he's got Rashford to the left of him, and he can play that ball. If he plays that ball, then those two are in a much better position to get a shot off. And he makes the poor choice, and he tries to shoot on his left foot. It gets deflected. It's an easy save. That was the first thing. Second thing, again, he's running through and just gets tackled. And the third one is his shot. And yes, it is a very good shot, but it's almost straight at Edison. So those 3 moments all went against him. So I don't think he did go hiding, maybe not as much as usual. I thought he was involved a little bit, but yeah, 3 for me because nothing came off for him. And off the ball work from Scott was awful today. And I'm someone that defends McTominay. I thought on the ball he wasn't that bad, but off the ball he was awful, and that's the very least I expect of a Manchester United player in a Manchester derby, is to be good off the ball, and he was shocking.
Yeah, exactly that. Well said. I think everyone's agreeing with us. Scott, 3 to leave. Yeah. All again, no idea. 3 again. McTominay, sell him, says Steve. Yeah, Scott is a 1 out of 10, says Manchester United fan. Yet the obsession with this guy at our club is shocking. He plays off striker for Scotland and Luton in a riot. I mean, yeah, I mean, he does get a lot of harsh criticism, but again, it's like I'm all for people saying McTominay and Maguire, I turned the corner, the redemption story and everything like this. But I said it when it happened. Look at the opposition. When we need them in a big game, are they good enough players? And they're probably getting criticised now unfairly because they really aren't good enough. But again, there is a big part of this which comes down to Mr. Erik ten Hag. There were other options to play, other players to play ahead of Scott McTominay today. Mason Mount came on, and oh my God, I actually realised why Mason Mount didn't play. What is going on there? That is a massive, massive worry for me. But yeah, I mean, Scott, 3 onto shining light. I actually thought first half Højlund was causing all sorts of problems for City's back line. Thought pace, strength, he was digging into Diaz. He was outpacing him. A couple of decisions, I thought he should have gone down for the penalty. I thought it could have been a red card penalty, 1-1, and we're playing City with 10 men. He's got to learn that dark arts form because that is one of them fine margins in football where that game could have turned. And I talked about a red card or an incident, make the game bitter, make it hard for City to get into a flow. It's the only way we're going to beat a team like this. And he had the chance there. He's too raw right now. I think Ten Hag has sort of covered himself by saying this before he came in, Højlund. He's not the finished article. We want to work with him, but he is a player for the future. The only problem is, James, a player for the future is our only hope as number 9 right now. And it's too much for him. I really do feel sorry for Højlund because he's got the work rate. He's got the passion. He's got qualities, but yeah, again, he just can't do it all on his own, can he?
No, it was a little bit. Well, it was 2 moments of naivety from Højlund today in what I thought was an all-round pretty good performance. I thought his hold-up play was absolutely excellent. There was a couple of times where he had people harassing him from behind, and he just still managed to keep hold of the ball and lay it off. I think his strength is very good. I think his pace is very good. The first moment of naivety, well, not the first one, but the penalty is naive. You can watch it again. You can say it's soft, and it is soft because about 10 of that happens per game. But as soon as Rodri complained and VAR were going to look at it, then obviously it was going to get given. He does put his arm around him, and Rodri is going towards the ball, so it is going to get given. So what he just needs to learn is if he's going to do stuff like that, he needs to be cuter. He needs to do it on blind side of referees. He needs to give them a little bump before they start the run. He needs to do something other than physically grab them or put his arm around them in the sight of the referee. You can't do that because there's cameras all around Old Trafford now. It's not like Anfield where they have selective VAR cameras where some things they see and some things they don't. This is Old Trafford where there's cameras everywhere and everything you do gets seen. So Unfortunately, that was a bit naive. And then the second bit of naivety is obviously him running through, taking that extra touch instead of taking the shot on his right foot, which meant that Stones could get a toe in. And then he tried to round Edison, and he did, and he could have gone down. And like you said, that could have been 10 men, that could have been 1-1, and it's a different game. You picture that to change that to someone experienced, say that's a Harry Kane in the team. I don't think he gives away the penalty, and I think he gets them down to 10 men the other side. And that's the levels of this game in terms of like, you called it dark arts, and you can call it dark arts if you want, but it's just playing football nowadays. Like it's not a crime to do that. Everyone does it. I think you're a bit silly and naive if you don't do it. So they're the only reasons that Højlund doesn't get a 6 for me. I'd probably give him a 5 just because of those little 2 bits of naivety. But there's definitely positives from Rasmus Højlund, and the main positive being he's one of the players that actually looks like he cares, which I love.
Yeah, that's it. Zane, perfect timing, mate. Yeah, thank you. I know you had a good day yesterday, and then Nketiah looks good against Sheffield United. I mean, we were just talking about Scott McTominay looking good against Sheffield United, so don't get too carried away, Zane, but really appreciate your contribution as always, pal. Laughing at us, throwing it in our face. I feel like a bit of a Wolf of Wall Street moment here with Zane. He just seems to be like just throwing the pound notes at me and laughing at me as I walk off to mid-table. Yeah, I can't really argue with him, to be honest. Arsenal look decent. Spurs look decent. City look like they're just going to take them two anyway with that today. I think the scary thing was the fact that City beat us in second gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh God, it's a sobering weekend for United. It really is. But I think I gave Højlund, I gave him a 4.
Okay.
I can't remember what I did, to be honest. I was thinking with him, I think, yeah, giving away the penalty, and obviously could have got the penalty and changed it. But I did think he was one player that didn't stop. And Ten Hag said he had to bring him off. Don't agree. I don't agree, Ten. Not at all. But yeah. Moving on, who's left? Oh no.
The one that you don't want to do, ads.
Yeah. Marcus Rashford. Oh, sorry, Marcus. You're getting bottom of the barrel for me today. 2. Marcus, and I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon with this one. I'm stating the obvious. Body language is a big thing, and today there was a moment when I think it was Kyle Walker was about 10 yards away from him, and the ball was in the air. Marcus Rashford still lost that aerial duel. Kyle Walker wanted it more, and when a player wants it more, you should be just giving the old "get me off the pitch" because I don't belong on here. You will never be forgiven for not putting in more than the opposition by a United fan base. That is basics. If you don't do it, then you don't belong on that pitch, and you don't deserve the chance to show the skill that you actually have got. You have to work harder, Marcus. I'm sorry. You have to work harder. 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm probably going to shock people here because if they know anything about me, they know how much I love Marcus Rashford. But he gets a 1 from me today. He gets a 1, and there's reasoning for it. First of all, the chance that he has is a massive chance. He gets lucky in the fact that Kyle Walker lets him go and then runs too far, so he runs past him. So he's got basically a clean half volley. He has to hit the target from there. It's a crucial moment in the game. He has to hit the target. So that's the first thing. And then you mentioned work ethic. For years, and I would be a hypocrite if I didn't give Rashford some stick for this, because for years I have given stick to Anthony Martial for his off the ball work rate for years. Yeah. And people have come at me and said, no, it's just how he is. It's not lazy. And I said, no, I've been in stadium. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes for years. I see how he is off the ball. I see how he presses. It's not just a tactic. I physically see what he does on the football pitch. When you get that bird's eye view, it's different. And I saw it with Rashford today, and I hate it. I absolutely despise it. And he might be a local lad, and he might be around the corner from me, and I love him, and idol and all this, but it doesn't excuse you from not doing the very, very basics. And one thing, like you said, he didn't jump for that ball or whatever with Kyle Walker before. What annoys me is when the ball was in their box, all of a sudden he goes up and challenges for it like his life depends on it. But when it's in the middle of the pitch and we need to win the ball to retain possession and there's no chance of him scoring, he's just not that bothered. Which kind of gets me into this selfish thing about Marcus Rashford, and maybe he's about himself at the moment. Maybe he is about his goals and his assists and his contributions, and is he willing to put the shift in for the team? Because I see his head drop all the time. As soon as we lose the ball, it's just his body language is awful. And And I hate to see it from Marcus, to be honest, because I do really, really like him. But if you're going to drop performances like that, mate, you can't be in the team. You just can't be. And like I said, Marcus Rashford might be the ship that Eric Ten Hag decides to sink with. He might be, because if he carries on playing him in this form and he doesn't turn it round anytime soon, then it's going to cause a huge problem for the manager.
Yep, that basically sums it up in terms of Marcus Rashford and Ten Hag. That love affair, Marcus Rashford gets it. I said in my vlog, I said he's living off his England performances at the moment, and the only reason anyone is talking about him is because Gareth Southgate keeps picking him, even though he's out of form completely. There are plenty of other players that deserve to be ahead of Marcus Rashford in that England team right now, and that's a United fan saying it as it is. That's how dejected I am with my players' performances. I will never hide away from a player, even if I love that player. I will praise him, but when performances don't warrant it, I'm not going to hide around it and just make my own agenda off. They deserve to be called out. And today, Marcus Rashford, after all of the big up, I actually didn't listen to Marcus Rashford's interview because I knew it would be a lot of shit, basically. It was all over Sky. My Twitter feed kept on popping up, Marcus Rashford, Marcus Rashford, Marcus Rashford. It was all last night, late last night. And then it came through today. It was an embargoed interview and all his quotes were coming up. And then as soon as TalkSport said, when the news button came up, Manchester United fans, Marcus Rashford has told, beep. No, I'm not having any of that. I don't care about words. I don't care about words. Actions speak louder than words. And right now, Marcus, you're walking Manchester United into the bottom half of the table. You don't belong in the team. You need to actually just take some time out and try and analyze where your career is right now and what you are doing, because you're talking a Manchester United game, but you're walking a path which is just destroying your relationship with the fan base because you just don't want to work enough. It's basics,
on the
and you're not going to help yourself.
On the actions speak louder than words thing, mate. The thing that got me today is pre-Copenhagen, we had the tribute to Sir Bobby, and pre-game this afternoon, we had the tribute to Sir Bobby, and they come out and they talk about how much it means, and they go and they bring out these compilations and put them on the Twitter and put them on their Instagram, and this means more and all this kind of stuff. And sometimes you can go out and you can give your everything on the pitch and you can lose. So I remember the 50th Munich anniversary, 2008, we played Man City and we lost that game. We played in those like playing kits. And we just lost that game. They played well. It was just after I think Shinawatra took over and they had a bit of money and they played well and they beat us that game. But we put in a fight and we just happened to lose. And then today had that, I thought it was going to be that same kind of atmosphere where it was big. It was about Sir Bobby, like it was United's time to go and just do something. And even if you get outplayed, I understand City's tough. They move the ball around excellently, probably better than any other team in the world. But you've got to get close to them. That doesn't mean coming on and kicking someone within 2 minutes, Anthony, by the way. Like, you don't get a pass for that. But you've got to get close to them and like lay a glove on them. And the effort level just wasn't there. And I'd love to see the running statistics from today, because I imagine we got outworked. And you can't get outworked by a team that are much better than you tactically. Like, if they are better than you and they've got a better like ability than you, you can't let yourselves get outworked. Otherwise, you'll lose 10 times out of 10. So if I was Ten Hag, I'd be getting them to run that distance like he did after the Brentford game last season. But I'd be making myself run double, because you are part of the problem, pal, and you need to own up to stuff yourself. So I would be getting them to put that effort in, because there was no effort for Sir Bobby on that pitch today. And unfortunately, we gave him a send-off on Tuesday with the penalty save, with the last-minute penalty save. Poor performance, but typical United spirit in the end. Maguire coming up with a header, and Anna coming up with a save. Typical United, great for Sir Bobby. Today, nothing like it, mate.
No, nothing at all. Guys, we are almost at 200 likes, 15 away. So let's give a like for Sir Bobby to finish off this stream, shall we, guys? Let's just give one like to a man that epitomised everything that Manchester United was and deserves the credit and the send-off that he got today, because it was very good. And I just want to say, City fans as well, outstanding in that send-off and the respect that they gave to it. It was an emotional start to the game. Everyone dealt with it well, including the City fans. They have to say it as it is, as they always do. Yeah. But you got to give them credit. They enjoyed the game, obviously, but they did pay their respects, and it was very, very respectable. So yeah, let's just give a like to finish the stream for Sir Bobby. And guys, I will bow out by saying United may not be back. I don't know when we'll be back, but we try, don't we? We just keep going. Like the players say, we go again. James, absolutely brilliant getting you on after the game. Cheers for all your comments, buddy.
No problem at all, man. Good to be on as always. Sorry I couldn't be there. Still not at the games, but probably a good job I missed out today. In fairness,
Yeah, you didn't miss much today.
Yeah, we got Newcastle on Wednesday. So hopefully, come next Sunday, or come whenever, we've got something a bit more positive to talk about. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's it. That is it, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Cheers for all your comments and sticking with us through the YouTube meltdown. Brilliant stream as always. Sad circumstances. Cheers for the super chat, Zane. Your input as always, guys. Cheers for everything. We will be back tomorrow. My match day vlog, the full vlog of all the details from the whole day. He's going up tomorrow morning. My match reaction is on the channel as well, so check that out. Cheers for tuning in, everyone. Brilliant stuff. Like, share, and subscribe to the United Vibe. There's loads coming up this week, guys. Stay tuned. I'll keep you all updated. Thanks for watching, everyone.